The Ethereum Supercycle. It's here right now. And the leading indicator is, are you ready? Binance Coin. Binance Coin flips XRP. What does that mean? Is today your only dip? Is this the opportunity to pick up Solana, Sui, Bitcoin Cash, Avalanche, and any other big altcoin? Because there could be a surprise at how well they do. Because, well, if you want to find out, subscribe to the channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, make sure you hit the like button. Now, let's discuss how and why Ethereum goes up. One, precious metals, when they rise, ETH rises. And these catch-up rallies can be dramatic. For example, Ethereum was at 2,000, and then you blinked after a gold rally, and Ethereum was at 4,000. The rally in Ethereum paused as gold and silver continued to go up. And then you have out of nowhere what they call the debasement trade, which was yesterday's headline, as the yen falls and falls and falls, and most likely takes the euro with it. And everybody goes, wow, fiat is in trouble. Big hedge funds are out this morning talking de-dollarization. That's their version of the dollar's in trouble because everybody would prefer to use other coins, or the standard becomes gold, or however you want to say it. Hedge funds likely short the dollar and talking their book, not realizing that the ultimate way to get out of fiat could be Ethereum. Now, let's flip over and do another angle. You know, there are tens of billions of dollars in the Bitcoin ETF, and Lord knows how much money is invested in tech stocks. Here's something that no one has talked about yet. There's a new quarter, so we're in 7 days into the fourth quarter. Could big mutual funds rotate from tech stocks into the Ethereum ETF? They've done it once. Why not do it again? Goldman was reporting this morning that anything related to AI, quantum computing, and Bitcoin, those stocks have gone up dramatically. Is it not time to move to Ethereum? Well, the answer is obviously yes. The question that no one is asking is what happens if that move into Ethereum drives Ethereum up 15 to 20% in one day? Don't think that can happen? Hear me out. Back in 2024, the yen went up in value. When the yen goes up in value, that's bad for speculation. I explained that all day yesterday. Today, just take my word for it. Literally, you had a 20% crash in Ethereum over like a weekend, with serious grown men calling me up from the supermarket going, what is going on? This is the reverse. The reverse, right? In other words, the yen is falling. The yen could continue to fall. Like right now, $1 buys 150 yen. 5 days from now, $1 might buy 160 yen. Now, in that case, doesn't sound like a lot to us altcoin players, but in foreign exchange, that is a huge move going someplace to happen. So if you have rising precious metals, issues with fiat, and I saw a statistic this morning as to what has happened to job creation in the United States since ChatGPT came out a couple years ago, right? It's a very simple thing. ChatGPT comes out. S&P 500 goes like this. ChatGPT comes out. The jobs index, the JOLT jobs index goes like this. Straight down. Straight up, straight down. What does that mean? That means the Fed has got to come in heavy. Now, everybody keeps saying AI is a bubble. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. However, a big macro trader from Goldman wrote this morning, some bubbles are good. And you know what? The last time I heard anything like that was from Vitalik. The founder of Ethereum. He's like, you know what? Bubbles bring in capital. Speculative capital allows people and projects to bring in, to get investment money to continue on. Now, another idea that people are not focusing on. Most of the rally in equities lately has been a giant short squeeze. All these stocks, all this bearishness that happened from the tariff tantrum back in April is still being unwound. Now, after everybody gets done covering their shorts, what are they going to go to? They're going to say, okay, well, we've covered our shorts. Now we got to get long. What are we going to get long? We're going to buy the all-time high in Nvidia at 4.5 trillion? Or are we going to buy the Ethereum ETF? Now you're sitting there going, well, Bill, that's nice. The Ethereum ETF. No. All these people talking about 5,000, 6,000, 8,000. And this morning, the talk is 10,000 Ethereum. And of course, that's our talk this morning. How exactly does that happen? Well, simple. ETH follows gold and silver, and everybody in equities can't find a better trade. Bitcoin moves too slow, so they go to Ethereum. I just got done doing the 6th Street Crypto podcast for our VIP group and platinum group in Patreon, where I showed them charts, which I'm not showing today or at all on free YouTube, the charts and how unbelievable it is of big altcoins versus Bitcoin. And ETH is leading away, and you are this close to a bottom, graphically shown in Patreon, that it is literally time for big altcoins. Now, speaking of big altcoins, Binance Coin, which of course no one talks about, no one is long, no one likes, just flipped XRP. The Eagle King sends me this tweet. I'm like, what? I go to CoinMarketCap. Sure enough, XRP just got flipped by Binance Coin, reminding me of another classic Ethereum story that you can't possibly miss. So stay tuned right here. Back in 2018, Ethereum and XRP would take turns flipping each other. So for example, if ETH flipped XRP, XRP would rally massively and then flip ETH. And then whatever gets flipped rallies. So when XRP flips ETH, ETH would turn around and explode. And that's how things worked in the bull market 2017, 2018, particularly during that alt season. So what gets XRP going? How about the idea that it just got flipped by basically an exchange token? Like the future of money, the future of bank payment systems attached to a stablecoin company with 1,000 employees, like Circle, like Tether, just got flipped, right? And it's, of course, it's $170 billion or something in that neighborhood, which is a joke. It's an absolute joke. I mean, Solana is 125 billion market cap, so that's a correction from yesterday. XRP 178, Binance Coin 185. I mean, again, Nvidia is worth more than all of crypto, the whole thing. I mean, XRP, Solana, and even ETH are a fraction of the market cap of just one tech stock. Now, when you have BNB doing this like shock headline, everyone is going to do exactly what I just did. And they're going to run and look at the market cap chart and go, oh my God, this is too cheap. The oh my God, this is too cheap trade is like 1 day away from accelerating. 1 day away. If you look at the Gann roadmap published in Patreon Platinum, not to mention what Toby said about the market on yesterday's podcast in the VIP YouTube member area. I mean, I was like, hi, good morning, Toby. That's what I said. Toby is our crypto analyst who can also see things that no one else can see. Let's put it that way. I interrupted her flow like kind of early on, and she's like, don't interrupt me, and just like explained it to everybody how it was all going to happen in the fourth quarter, namely the banana zone. Now, naturally, you're being lulled to sleep. You may be annoyed that your bags are not moving. Your bags are not moving, right? What are you going to do if you wake up one day and you slept on this thing or you weren't invested? Not investment advice. This is education and entertainment. What's going to happen if you wake up one day and ETH is up 25%? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? In other words, all of the conventional wisdom is being proved wrong. Example, Binance Coin rallying, right? Everybody long Bitcoin, and maybe the thing really is Ethereum. Consensus thinking doesn't work. Remember how tariffs were a nightmare? Goldman is publishing this morning that, tariffs, what tariffs? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And then there's another idea where they put out where he says spending is the new savings. In other words, if you're holding dollars, you have to stop holding dollars. And one of the things that you need to know is that, the amount of cash sitting in money market mutual funds, meaning old people or people with, money, they have a substantial amount of capital sitting in money market funds collecting, 3 or 4%. Now, when that money comes out, and it's got to come out because inflation eats it every day, where's it going? Well, certain people are going to flood into crypto because crypto and ETH are exactly where they were at the high in 2021. At the high in 2021, it was Bored Ape and silly FOMO, right? Tom Brady and Madonna paying $600,000 for the Bored Ape ETF. I'm sorry, the Bored Ape NFT. Now, I mean, what kind of catalyst do you have for Ethereum versus then? You have a completely different market, but the same price. Well, it can't be the same price anymore. It's got to be like 6,000. And again, what happens when gold goes through 4,000, ETH goes through 5,000, and silver blows through 50? Or maybe gold stops at 4,000 and silver stops at 50, and all that money and all the Bitcoin money rotates into ETH at the same time. In other words, you have to start asking yourself and use your imagination. And again, Altcoin Daily kicks it off. How do you get Ethereum at 10,000? That's how you get it. Where you wake up one day and all of a sudden, legacy people, crypto people, like this morning we're hearing the Bank of New York is exploring how to tokenize deposits. The Bank of New York at consensus 2 years ago sent kids running around to get explanation, like what is Polkadot, what is Chainlink, what are they doing, to go back and talk to the old guys. Banks are behind the curve in crypto, which is another way the bus is going to leave without them. And what happens when the bus leaves without them? Also of note, Uncle Sugar has shut down the government, and there is no sign of that ending. No sign of that ending. One side wants $1 trillion for, let's call them social programs to keep it neutral. I don't think they're getting that. The last government shutdown, the big one in 2019, 2018, one of those years, was like 30 days. This one's going to be at least 60. And again, this brings in interest rate cuts. So if you have interest rate cuts, but you have a thriving tech sector, meaning technology stocks are now 56% of the S&P. Technology is the U.S. economy. It is, right? Because that's where all the data center, all the building, all that stuff, not building houses, not building skyscrapers, not building anything. hence the job market. So if technology is 56% of America, where should crypto be in that equation? Well, I can tell you right now, it should be massively higher. Now, what is technology in crypto? Well, it's obviously starts with big altcoins. You have a top in Bitcoin dominance after a frankly lame rally. In other words, Bitcoin has been outperforming of late. It's just not a surprise after you have things like, Uncle Sugar shutting down and this Japanese shock. Circling back to that yesterday, that was a shock. In other words, there was a Japanese election and people were selling Japanese stocks before that happened. Then this person gets elected and go, yeah, let's print more money. And then all of a sudden, everyone's going to go, oh my God, we've got to get back into Japanese stocks and American stocks. And what's next? Has to be crypto. And of course, they're making it difficult on you because you're sitting there going, okay, Bill, that's nice. Everyone got caught off guard. And why are my bags not moving? Well, it's simple. They're going to catch you off guard, but you're not going to get caught off guard because you're listening to this stream. You're subscribing to Patreon. You're getting the TA that you need. By the way, top Solana small caps that were already in an uptrend, right? Filter down to top picks from both the Gann model and from Toby, now in Patreon Platinum and the YouTube member podcast, which could be the most valuable hour that you listen to, because if you get on this banana zone move, you will be the happiest person ever. And if you miss it, you will be extremely unhappy, which is why we just continue to flood the market with research, reasonable research that narrows it down to altcoins like 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And give you the pep talk to stay involved, right? Across Europe and especially in France, the bill is coming due. The cost of signature brand of humanist economics, the so-called universal way of life, offering healthcare, affordable education, is becoming unbearably high. Breaking news from the Washington Post. Things are coming apart in Europe. You had 2 government officials throw in the towel and resign after being there for 3 weeks. And you're like, Bill, what does this have to do with crypto? Sovereigns have spent themselves into an unsustainable point. The bid has moved to gold. Then the bid moved to Bitcoin. Everyone's like, oh, all-time high at 125. What happens when you have altcoins as a group take off? Don't believe me? Look at the chart of Binance Coin. Binance Coin is moving bottom left to top right. And in a bull market, as I just discussed with the Eagle King, what goes up first? The thing that nobody likes, nobody owns, and is hard to buy. Bada bing, bada boom, goes. Binance Coin goes, and now literally everything else could follow. I don't want to say Binance Coin is low quality, but it's not seen by the larger public as, the ultimate crypto play. The ultimate crypto play, and it's hitting the tape right now that as soon as Uncle Sugar comes back into session, the first thing they want to do is show some togetherness by passing the crypto bill, because nobody's getting more money for defense. No one's getting any money for social programs unless they can issue more debt. And they're undoubtedly watching what's going on in Europe, and they're shocked because that's going to affect their debt markets. That's going to affect their currencies. And the first thing our people are going to agree on is, oh yeah, we got to make sure we got stable coins, which they have. And we got to make sure that all of crypto is stamped legal in case, a new regime comes in and decides that they don't like crypto because the orange man liked crypto. They got to make it legal or they're not going to get the debt launch that they want. And interestingly, even though a lot of these stocks have gone up a lot, the S&P just launched a new crypto index comprising 15 cryptocurrencies and 35 crypto-related stocks. The S&P crypto index, just like the S&P, technology index, the S&P basic materials index. Really, why do you launch indexes? So you can make more ETFs of crypto stocks. Everybody gave up on Michael's strategy. Everybody gave up on Michael Saylor. Bad idea. Absolutely bad idea. Okay, let's welcome who's here. Okay, we had Gavin Busby, a member for 7 months, finally able to make a live stream. Thank you for all you do. We have Warmon, members here. Fuzz Crypto, Tyler Hall from the Antivirus Universe. Zepedas, Hal Lopez, not up in the middle of the night. Richard Barry, welcome, sir. And I'm sure we have Bull Runner in here first on the stream. Welcome, welcome, members. Okay, the 101 when Lambo. All right, that's a great question. Let me answer it. Everybody in crypto is looking for the Lamborghini. Instead, what you're probably going to get is gradually, which may be part of what you have now, and then suddenly. The Lambo comes in, say, December or January when normies come into the market. This market is not going to behave like a meme coin yet. Ethereum and all related altcoins, which includes Solana, XRP, they're all going to behave like meme coins and go vertical, but it's going to try to push you out or wait you out first. In other words, if you want a Lamborghini, you're going to earn it. And the way you're earning it is you have to wait, right? Like RSR has crypto ETFs already. Yeah, dude. I mean, you have a lot of crypto ETFs. They're not ETFs, but Grayscale has a huge list of them. It has Zcash. It has AI. And we covered yesterday a lot of these AI coins like, Fetch, Tau, and a couple small caps. Yeah, they went up yesterday, but they're dipping today, which brings me to the subject of a dip and the Gann roadmap that's in the Patreon Platinum area. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the prices are, but I am telling you that Ethereum, after underperforming where it was supposed to be on the roadmap, today is outperforming, right? Ethereum is up when the rest of the market is down. And if you're wondering, you're like, gee, how do I figure out this crypto market? Just see what's up just a little or a lot when the rest of the market is down, right? Wormhole, something that's cross-chain related, something that the Gann model is all over, is up today, right? Ethereum up today. We have a couple other altcoins that we love that we're not telling you about. And Toby has a dark horse layer 1, which I'm not talking about, which has done nothing but go up and is up today. So everyone's like, wow, it's a bummer. It's a dip. My bags are down. Dude, your bags are down 1%. What happens if this thing sits and down 1% for a day or two, and then all of a sudden you just wake up? In other words, you're in the gradually phase, and you could be 2 or 3 days max away from the suddenly, because this macro environment is not going anywhere. AI has not been traded in crypto. There's frankly no way Binance coin should be worth more than XRP. There's no way. So Binance coin can keep going. That's fine. Or Binance coin can consolidate while everything else smokes higher. Zcash went. Monero is up 4% today. They're taking turns rallying in privacy, right? Tune into the YouTube member area where we talk about when that narrative is going to go full banana zone, right? In other words, there are multiple narratives that are taking off, and there is going to be a real world asset announcement, I think, that's going to blow people's mind. That's coming out maybe the next 3 to 10 days. So if you think that there are reasons, and you think that you're frustrated, and you think that this is not going to happen, you have panic buying in equities. It's not normal, and it's having second order effects for the market around earnings, right? To just sort of move without catalysts. In other words, you have all these things in equities just moving and moving and moving and moving with no catalysts. They're chasing performance. Well, what happens when crypto starts going up? You don't think they're going to chase performance in crypto, these big hedge funds? So I'm trying to paint you a picture of what the world looks like when it actually starts rallying. Okay, Crypto Pulse Texas says Solana at 290, wife needs a new SUV. Dude, if Solana goes to 290, it could go to 600. I mean, get the SUV, please. You know, get what's necessary. The only reason you sell crypto is to get the things you need in real life, in my opinion. In my opinion, right? Bitcoin John says, I like the way you talk. Sir, I appreciate that. We like to think we differentiate ourselves as a YouTube channel that's the front end for a research house, not just a YouTube channel, although we do that as well all day, every day, which is a reminder that if you're in a far off land and you don't have 2 nickels to rub together, you can hit the like button and you can subscribe to the channel so I can help you. If you help me, I'll help you. The Ethereum Supercycle is happening. It is happening. And the good news is you're getting in on the ground floor, which is today, tomorrow, or the next day. That's the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow.